Dear children, we are going to discuss about the function of blood. First, it helps in transportation of various respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. Second, it maintains the normal body temperature, that is 37 degrees Celsius. It helps in blood clotting because we know that blood platelets are present in the blood that help in blood clotting. It fights against infection because although WBC is present in the blood, so these also fight against infections by forming antibody that strengthens our immunity. It carries hormones to different organs of the body. Not only hormones, other substances are also transported by blood. Now lymph. Lymph, that is the colorless fluid, or we can say it is another type of fluid connective tissue that float inside specialized vessels known as lymph vessels. As blood vessels are there in which blood flows, similarly in lymph vessels lymph flows. It is also known as tissue fluid because it comes out from the blood capillaries and fills the spaces between the tissues. So everything comes out, but RBC doesn't come out from the capillaries. That is why it is not red in color. It is colorless. Lymph contains special type of white blood cells called lymphocytes. These lymphocytes are also of two types, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. In higher class you will learn in details, which helps in fighting infection and diseases. It strengthens our immune system. This I already explained why it is known as tissue fluid. Now, overall composition of lymph is similar to the blood with the exception of RBC and blood platelet. That is why it is not red in color. Lymph is colorless. And some plasma protein is also not present in it. Now, the function. It acts as an important carrier of nutrients and hormones. Children, functions are more important that can be asked in the board examination, so you have to prepare it well. It keeps the tissue moist. As I told you, it fills the spaces between the tissues. That is why it keeps the tissue moist. Absorption of fat also occurs through it. It also protects the body by killing germs because it has lymphocytes. It also transports the digested fat for nutritive process. So, digested fat is also transported by lymph. Now, excretion. The process of removal of the nitrogenous waste products or toxic substances from the body of an organism is called excretion. And excretion that takes place in both plants and animals because as a result of metabolism wastes are produced, so that takes place in both plants and animals. Plants we learn later on, but first we are going to start excretion in human beings. So in human beings, a well specialized excretory system is present, which consists of pair of kidney, ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Now first I am going to show the diagram, then I will discuss it one by one. See this diagram. Kidneys are there. Then from the ileus or a opening is there from where the ureter emerges out. Ureter. So this part is known as ileus, from where ureters comes out. This is urinary bladder and the terminal part of the bladder is having an opening called urethra. Through that urine is passed out. And one more thing, that these are completely, it is not shown here, but these are completely inside it. Actually, inside the kidney, numerous nephrons are there. That I'll show you in another diagram. So once again, pair of kidney, pair of ureter, urinary bladder and urethra are there. It altogether constitute human excretory system because these are helpful in releasing of nitrogenous waste product from the body of the human beings. Now see the different organs. Kidneys. These are reddish brown in color. You can write the color also. These are bean shaped structure situated towards the back side of our body. That means one kidney on each side of our backbone, just above the base. Function, it removes the urea from blood and make urine. Kidney is about 10 to 12 centimeter in length, 5 to 7 centimeter in width and 2 to 3 centimeter in thickness with an average weight of 120 to 170 grams. Now ureters are the tube-like structure, long and muscular tube. Its function is to carry the urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. So both the ureters open into urinary bladder. Now urinary bladder. It is thin-walled, pear-shaped structure. It is quite transparent and it temporarily stores the urine. And when urinary bladder is full of urine, it sends a message to the central nervous system, and from where the message came the voiding of urine. Then only voiding of urine takes place, and this is known as micturition. Now urethra. It is a membranous tube which conduct urine to the exterior, that means to the outside. Micturition, I already told you, the urge of voiding out the urine is called micturition. In each kidney, million of nephrons are there, or we can say large number of nephrons are there. Nephrons are the excretory unit of each kidney. Now, that means urine formation takes place in nephrons only. So, the structure of a nephron. I'll show you the diagram. First, I'm going to explain it. Glomerulus, it consists of the following parts: glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, tubule. Tubule or tubular region, that is a tube-like structure, divides into three parts: PCT, Henle's loop, and DCT. PCT is a proximal convoluted tubule. Then Henle's loop. DCT is a distal convoluted tubule. I have written in the same order. As tubular structure starts, it begins with PCT and with DCT, and thereafter collecting duct. These different parts constitute the nephron. Now first I am going to show you the diagram. Now see this diagram. The glomerulus, that is a tuft of capillary which is found inside this cup-shaped structure. So that is glomerulus, brown color structure. This is the rounded one, is a Bowman's capsule, and this whole is considered as the tubular region. So out of that, in the beginning, the coil part, that is PCT. These are Henle's loop. Henle's loop I already told you. Then upper, this part is a DCT, and this is known as the collecting duct. So just see it once again. The brown color part is glomerulus. Then cup-shaped structure is Bowman's capsule. Then PCT is there. The first turn in the tubular region, this is PCT. Thereafter here, Henle's loop. Thereafter it is DCT, and this is the collecting duct. You have to draw this diagram in your copy, children. Now glomerulus. It is a tuft of about 50 capillaries present in the cup-shaped structure, that is Bowman's capsule. In glomerulus, blood is filtered because these capillaries are very thin. So higher pressure can be maintained. Thereafter, as the filtration takes place in these tuft of capillaries, the blood is filtered. That means the nitrogenous waste product along with other substances like glucose, that amino acid, that filtered out, and the clean blood that again enter into the circulation through efferent artery, and through efferent artery the blood enters into the glomerulus. You can see this, I have written efferent renal artery, efferent renal vein. Then as blood get filtered, the filtrate get collected into the Bowman's capsule, and this filtrate is known as glomerulus filtrate because although it is filtered out through glomerulus. Second, the cup-shaped structure is a Bowman's capsule. So here its function is to collect the glomerulus filtrate. It has the specialized cells known as podocyte cells, and the speciality of podocyte cell is there a space found in between these cells. So that is why filtered or filtrate can go down in the tubular region. Now tubular region. So I told you tubule is divided into PCT, then Henle's loop, then DCT. So one by one we are going to discuss it. PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Here reabsorption takes place. Here reabsorption of glucose, salt takes place. Or in other words, we can say 70 to 80% of electrolytes and water takes place here. Then Henle's loop. Actually, order I have written wrong. For after PCT, Henle's loop is there. In Henle's loop, water and sodium ion, magnesium ion, potassium ion are reabsorbed. Now, then DCT. So, while writing, first you have to write PCT, then Henle's loop, then DCT. That is a distal convoluted tubule. Here, secretion of potassium, hydrogen, and chloride ion takes place directly into the tubular region. That is why blood capillaries are surrounded the whole nephron. Now the collecting duct. It collects the urine which is formed in the nephron and it passes it to the ureters. Its work is only to pass it, nothing else. And what is urine? It is slightly acidic, pale colored liquid which contain water, urea, uric acid and some salts. And we know that human beings excrete their urine in the form of urea. In an adult human, the initial filtrate in the kidneys is about 180 liters daily, but only 1.5 to 2 liters urine we excrete in a day. Why? Because in tubular region of the nephron, maximum amount of substances and water is reabsorbed. Now hemodialysis. If a person kidney is not working, then a person can go for dialysis, and this is known as hemodialysis. So what is dialysis? It means the removal of waste product from the blood by artificial kidney. That is a dialyzer machine. So with the dialyzer, a nitrogenous base product can be removed out if a kidney of a person is not working properly. So dialysis machine, what is it? It contains a number of tubes made of semi-permeable material. Semi-permeable, that you know, that which allow whole solvent but some solute to pass through it. These tubes are suspended in a tank filled with dialyzing fluid. And what is that dialyzing fluid? It has the same composition as that of blood plasma to maintain the same osmotic pressure or concentration. Now, how this process takes place? The blood from an artery of the patient, especially through arm, from neck also it can be taken, is made to flow into dialyzing machine. As a result, base product from blood pass into dialyzing fluid by the process of diffusion. Diffusion, we know, the movement of solvent from higher concentration to lower concentration. So in dialyzing fluid, that concentration is very low, concentration of nitrogenous base product. But in the dialyzer machine, because blood is there and blood has higher concentration of base product or nitrogenous base product, so it is filtered out from there. Then the purified blood is pumped back into a vein of the patient again through the same arm. Now children, excretion in human beings is Over you have to draw both the diagrams, the diagram of the nephron as well as the whole excretory system. It is important. Now, excretion in plants. We know that plants are not having any specialized excretory system, but although metabolic processes are also takes place there, so they have to release the waste products. So, in plants, excretion takes place by following ways. First, root of the plant, they excrete their waste in the surrounding soil. Then plant also shed their lives periodically. As a result, that wastage that are sent to these plant parts, leaf, bark like that, from there it is separated or it shed down. Then plant waste can also be released in the form of gums and resins through the bark. Now, excess of water in plants releases out by the process of transpiration. We know it through stomata. Then oxygen, which is also a base product in plant. So, oxygen is released out by stomata. So, that much point only you have to write in excretion in plants. Now, children, one more thing. Transportation in plants that I forgot to discuss. We know that xylem and phloem, two conducting tissues are there which are necessary to transport water and food in the plant body. We know that xylem help in transportation of water and minerals throughout the plant body, and phloem helps in transportation of food in different parts of the plant body. We learned in class 9th in details that xylem have four elements, that is tracheids, basal, xylem parenchyma and xylem sclerenchyma. Here we will not study in so much details. And if we talk about phloem, then phloem is having sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem sclerenchyma. Children, we know that wherever parenchyma term comes, it means the storage. And wherever sclerenchyma term comes, it means the provide protection it provide mechanical support to the plant body. So these functions are common. But in xylem tracheids and xylem basals specially help in transportation of water in different cells of the plant body. And phloem, sieve tubes and companion cells all together help in transportation of food to different parts of the body. So you can write about it, the description, short description of the transportation of food and water in the plant. So children, I completed this chapter. You have to revise it fully and you have to draw all the diagrams which are necessary or which I have shown to you. Okay, take care.